Hellmaster EX. This award-winning system features the first single-engine joystick with digital electric steering and new autopilot capability. See Hellmaster EX in action at a Yamaha Outboard dealer or visit YamahaOutboards.com.
Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It's September 5th. These are your headlines. First of all, this fall-like weather has got bait fish on the move. We're really starting to things transitioning throughout New England. We've seen some really big false albacore coming out of the Cape and even one out of Rhode Island this week. Also, the Bonito blitz continues across southern New England. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
Before we begin, we've got a few news items for you guys. The first one is sort of a first-hand account of what's taking place with some of this boulder relocation surveys that we were talking about last week. If you didn't see last week's report, I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, in preparation for bringing these cables ashore for offshore wind, they're going out there with big boats dragging giant grappling hooks. They're finding boulders and then they're getting them out of there. I don't know what they're doing with them after that. But I was talking to Jason Colby, who's the captain of Little Sister Charters out of Westport, Massachusetts, and he said that he went out to a spot 8 miles off of Westport that's sort of in between Westport and Cox's. He uses it as a as a way to maybe not have to make the entire run out to Cox's. He described it as a mountain of rocks, and it's a very productive spot for various species from codfish to black sea bass to tog. But upon arriving on the numbers this week, the rocks are gone. And this is just the first example that I've heard of a highly productive, somewhat secret fishing spot being destroyed by offshore wind. And it's weird that we're just expected to just kind of sit by and let it happen. If this were being done for any other reason, I just can't even imagine the outcry from the environmentalists, but because this is in the name of supposedly clean energy, everyone's just kind of keeping their mouth shut, and it's sad, it's sad, and I don't like to see it. So just wanted to kind of give you guys a little preview of what you're going to be seeing as these surveys come closer and closer to shore and then finally go up into Narragansett Bay. I think we're going to see the underwater landscape changed quite a bit, and I don't think it's going to be good. Next thing is the latest installment of Jenni Ackerman's Open Boat. Here she is.
Hey everyone, welcome to Open Boats.
You guys could take my job. Good job, everyone. So hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. We're going out fluking, but more importantly, we're here with Danny and Gianna. And we're gonna talk about the importance of the future in fishing. So you guys like to fish, right? You were hanging around the dock looking for little dock critters before we went out. Today we're both, you guys, I don't know about me, you guys probably have to teach me how to fish. I'm a little rusty. You guys are both gonna come back with some 12-pounders today, right?
Yeah.
So these guys love to fish, and it's so important to get the younger generations out fishing because that's the future of the fishing industry. You get youngins out here like this that understand fishing and they learn about the regulations and all the different species you can catch based on the season. They enjoy it more and more, and they learn about not even a hobby, but you can make this into like a whole lifestyle and everything. Going back to the importance of fishing, because would you guys rather sit inside all day and play video games, or would you go out and want to go fishing?
I want to go out fishing.
Exactly, good. We didn't have to bribe you for the answer, but at a younger age, being active in such a well-rounded community, especially girls in the fishing industry, we got to represent, we got to outfish all the boys, right? It's important to just learn about the species, and then as you get older, you can be like, hey, I really like fishing, but I want to make this into a career. You can work for the Fisherman magazine. You can be my interns next summer. You can work in the conservation field. You can learn about protecting a species. You can work for, the Coast Guard, and you can protect the fishermen that go out there and go boating and go catch fish. So it's all important, and it's not just about catching a fish, it's molding your future. All right, enough jibber jabber. Let's get rigged up and let's go catch some fluke, right?
Yeah.
Give me high fives. High fives all around, let's go. We'll see you guys out there. Good job. Keep it coming. It's far away from the boat. See if you want to net this. Keep it coming, you got it. Where is he going? There you go! Good job! There we go. We'll zoom in on his face there. Good job. Good job! Go ahead, you can release it.
Release it. Good job.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to go one too?
Yeah. That's a fluke. Perfect. Good.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
And then the last thing, of course, is the giveaway, which is ongoing. Still seeing a steady stream of photos, and I only expect that to get better and better as we progress into the fall run. You guys know the drill by now, but I'm just going to give it to you quickly. It's got to be a picture of you or a friend holding a recently caught fish, and you know, it's got to show the angler holding the fish. I want the pertinent details, like the person's name, where it was caught, what it was caught on, how big it was, stuff like that. Outside of that, doesn't really matter to me. If you caught it at home, if you caught it, you know, on vacation to Africa, I don't care. Send them in to me at danderson@thefisherman.com or text them to the number on the screen. Give me those details. We'll get you in the contest. We'll probably get you in the magazine, get you in the report, and who knows, maybe you'll win something cool. Moving over to the reports now, up in Maine, your best option is still striped bass. Things are definitely in that bulk up mode right now. We got a lot of bait fish movement up there. We've got a lot of striped bass sort of congregating in the mouths of these rivers, along the beaches. Very, very good fishing taking place in that area right now for all the striper guys. So definitely a good place to go if you want to bend the rod with some striped bass. Moving down the coast a little bit, let's check in now with James Jewkes.
How you doing, Dave? Just getting out now after vacation. Had a few fish last night, up to 37 inches. Wasn't bad for the first night back. Everybody, this new moon, September, should be out there catching fish. I know I am. I got word fish have been steadily moving around. Nothing spectacular, but the fish are moving and they are actively feeding. So really get out there, get your things going. If you're not fishing the backside of this new moon, right through the end of the season into November. Gotta get out. But north of us, south of us, everybody's been doing okay. I suspect we'll start to see the first push of better fish from Maine in the next few weeks. I'll keep close tabs on that. Let everyone know. But starting my long walk tonight. Got about a 4-mile walk. All right, that's it from Plum Island area. All right, Dave, stay tight. Be safe, everyone.
Now we'll make a move to Boston Harbor, and we'll check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in with the bite from Boston. This week we had a little bit of progress. Seems like we have a little bit of a morning topwater bite as opposed to the trolling that we have been doing. The guys are getting them on the docks, you know, the small spook lures, but you know, all the bass are in that lower class slot, going up to maybe 45 inches. That once that morning bite dies, you know, you move on to the live pogies. You know, fish them on the surface, fish them on the ground, and then that night bite, the guys are getting them on live eels. So the bluefish are still in the mix. They're causing trouble, but you know, that's good for business. While things are still a little bit slow, I know I said it before, it's a good time to get offshore, get some haddock, do some tuna fishing, you know, catch some sharks. If you do find yourself going offshore, make sure you got your safety equipment and gear. You got your survival suits, your life jackets, your flares, all of it. You know, you don't want to find yourself out there in some rough seas without that stuff. So stay safe, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.
As we get down into the Plymouth area, your best options there are to fish for bluefish or striped bass. That little fray that's been going on there has continued. It's been some really nice bluefish up into the mid-teens in the area, and striped bass ranging from, you know, I guess I would say the striped bass are more averaging around the slot size, but we're seeing some bigger fish up into the 30-pound class, which has been cool. The guys from the surf have been doing well at night, and then the boat guys have been doing better just chasing around those bunker schools, and still seeing a few of those giant tuna showing up in the area as well. Crossing the canal on the Bayside beaches, I didn't hear a whole heck of a lot striper-wise this week, but I know that there's still a lot of activity for giant tuna out in the bay. With the season reopening again this week, we're seeing a lot more activity with that, and definitely some big fish out in the bay, and then going around the tip of Race Point and heading east from there. A lot of big fish being caught right now. So tuna fishing is looking very good in that region. A thing I heard from the outer beaches is that the fall run is definitely kicking into gear out there. We're seeing a lot more bait fish congregating along the beaches, seeing a lot more striped bass being caught. That change has happened over the past 10 days or so. It's really been pretty widespread, you know, from P-Town all the way down to Chatham. So more or less, basically what you need to do is do a little bit more moving around till you can find yourself on some fish, and chances are you're going to do pretty well once you find them. The other thing that has been happening is seeing a lot more sightings of great white sharks along the beaches. A friend of mine sent me a video today. I'm hoping we can get it on the screen here. The video he originally sent was pretty grainy, so I'm hoping to get an updated version before I have to send this in. So hopefully you're watching that right now. But great white shark in extremely shallow water. And he estimated this shark to be in the range of 20 feet in length. And I mean, that's a stark reminder of why most Cape fishermen don't go in past their ankles. When you get down toward Monomoy, things get a little bit more interesting. We still got a lot of striped bass in the area, but the main thing is false albacore. This is where the sort of the demarcation line of albies is, you know, sort of the tip of Monomoy heading out toward Nantucket. And we've seen some really big albies this week. A friend of mine was out, I think it was Saturday morning, and he was all alone. It was really windy, and hooked into a just a tank of a fish. Took him on 3 long runs, dumped the spool to the backing, and finally landed this fish. And the whole time he was thinking maybe he hooked a bluefin, you know, but it ended up being a 32-inch albie that weighed in at 17 pounds. And while that might not be typical of what you're going to find out there, it is indicative of what's possible. And several other albies this week in the 13 to 15 pound class reported. I know Justin Oser, one of our writers, and you know, a very good kayak fisherman, had a big albie himself this week. I think that was 30 inches, probably weighed in around 14 pounds. And we've seen a lot of other big ones taken in that time frame. The other thing that's changed, though, is the consistency of the bite. Now, this could be this could have something to do with Labor Day and just so much boat traffic and so much pressure, but the bite just isn't as prevalent as it was before the holiday weekend. Fish seem a little bit more scattered. They're not showing on top as much, so you got to do a lot more blind casting, but it might be worth it because there's some really big fish around right now. Heading out toward Nantucket, a lot of bonito around the bar, and then crossing out to the shoals, still good fluke action out there. Moving into the Elizabeth Islands, striped bass activity still very good there. Don't forget, the sea bass is closed, so any of that deep water sea bass fishing that you used to do around the Elizabeths, you're going to have to wait till next year because unless you want to catch them and release them, they are off limits as of last week. And then getting up closer to the canal, I didn't get a lot of canal reports myself this week, so we're going to let East End Eddie tell us all about it. Here he is.
Hi Dave, got a beautiful morning here in the world famous Cape Cod Canal with a eastbound flood tide behind me, and things have been pretty slow for a while, but this weekend they picked up with the new moon kicking in, and Dave Skillsaw Curry and Bill Slots Walsh both caught keepers, and Skillsaw was throwing his Daiwa SP Minnow chicken scratch, and Slots Walsh was working the surface with a little neck popper, a super strike, white colored, and Wild Willie Williams did really well. He was using his Green Max Savage on the bottom when he got hit hard, and after a ferocious battle he finessed a 27-pound striper to the rocks, and then threw the same lure back and caught a 20-pounder. So congratulations to Wild Willie. That's quite a day. He's a great guy and a great fisherman. He rides usually with Insane Wayne Cole and some other certified canal rats. So there's bait in the canal. I saw some bunker picked off by birds this morning, and a ton of rain bait. That's everywhere. And so things are looking up. And my tip of the week is make sure you use your bug spray. So, you know, mosquitoes used to be a nuisance. Now they're killers. They're lethal insects. So, you know, they're carrying Triple E and West Nile and some other diseases I don't even know about. So just make sure you bring your bug spray and apply it liberally, okay? So until next week, catch a big one.
And then heading out to western Buzzards Bay, the sea bass again off limits there, which was really starting to get good, so you have to leave them alone. But the togging's been good, the scup fishing's been really good. There's been just like a steady increase in striped bass in the area. You got bonito around and a few albies, but the main thing is definitely the tog. Togging's been very good out there, and I expect to see the striped bass fishing just get better and better over these next couple of weeks, and that's what I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week. Crossing over into Rhode Island, let's start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecky.
Thanks, Steve. Hey guys, quick report for East Bay area here. Small bass still up inside the Warren and Barrington rivers. You really got to work for them though. Looks like the water warmed up a little bit, but I think the water's going to cool off a little bit again. It's kind of funny, I'm talking about how it warmed up and then now it's going to cool off because we got some radiational cooling this week, and it's going to help bring the water temperatures down up inside the rivers. So I also got to tell you, there's a ton of bait that's fallen out of all these rivers, and we have a bunch of river systems in the East Bay area, from the Warren River, the Barrington River, getting into the Kickamuit River. And you also got like the Sakonnet River, where bait is kind of just congregating in limbo from going in the ocean or coming back into the bay, back and forth. And then, if you just move a little further up into, Mount Hope Bay, we got the Lees and the Coles River, which are both loaded with bait too. So we got striped bass in the Lees River. We also got some small striped bass up inside of the Coles River. I reported last week, but that we had seen, a bunch of birds and some fish working out in Mount Hope Bay in front of Fall River near Borden Lighthouse. Those fish have since disappeared. I'm not sure where they went. There were schools of bluefish, real small bluefish, and some bass mixed in. And I don't have any reports to report on those for this week. So, which is kind of atypical for this time of year, getting into September. The bass are going to go where the bait is, and they're going to move around, and they're going to chase that bait around. They're getting ready to migrate. So they're definitely going to be on the feed. I haven't heard any reports of any false albies or some bonita in the Sakonnet River part, Little Compton Tiverton of the East Bay. But I'm going to be looking for those, and I'm probably going to be out there actually trying to fish for them also. So I did hear some good ground fishing still going on in Mount Hope Bay, underneath the Mount Hope Bridge, from Bristol Harbor, Hog Island, from Prudence out. There's still some good fluke in the mix. There's a lot more tautog showing up. Crabs are working for that. Fluke is, your everyday gulp, or, even if you want to drag a strip bait on the bottom, it's all working right now because those fish are on the feed. So if you're in the East Bay, you got a lot of opportunities. So get out there and fish, and tight line, guys.
I think the main question most Rhode Island anglers are asking right now is, are there albies around Rhode Island right now? And the answer is kind of complicated. The simple answer is yes, there are some albies around. But the more complicated version of that is that while there are albies around, there really only seem to be a few pods of fish. And it's more like you got to get lucky than you're going to go out there and hunt them down and catch them. However, there are tons of bonito. It doesn't matter if you're fishing Sakonnet to Newport, if you're fishing Point Judith to Watch Hill. There are bonito all over the place. We're seeing sizes from 2 pounds up to like 6 pounds, and the bite has just been off the chain. Guys I know that are doing it every day are getting fish every day. It's the best bonito year we've seen since 2019, and that's lofty company. So great bonito action in Rhode Island. On the striped bass end of things, the best action still seems to be centered around Newport and Jamestown. We are also seeing some really nice fish coming off the ledge out of Block Island. And one thing that we are definitely going to see happening very soon is mullet leaving these backwater estuaries. I've been seeing them up in the ponds for the last 2 weeks. These colder nights and these cooler days are definitely going to get these fish heading out. Usually happens right around now, sometime between like the 5th and the 15th. Is when we usually see those mullet leave these estuaries. So definitely want to keep your eye on that, especially if you're a surf fisherman that can ramp things up in a hurry. And even the big albies, they love those finger mullet, and we've seen a lot of those around this year. So we got a lot to look forward to in that regard. For a little bit more on that, one of the best lures, or one of the best new lures for replicating a mullet is definitely going to be the NLBN K-tail. And I know Jeff Sullivan's got some stuff to talk about regarding that. Here he is.
What's up, guys? What's up, Dave? So this week I'm going to talk to you guys about the Novi bait needed K-tail and why you should have one this fall and in the spring. But this fall mainly because fall season is coming up and we need to match the hatch with the mullet run. We need to start catching fish before they leave for the winter. But don't worry, we still got a lot of time. But I'm trying to prepare you guys, and I'll show you guys what's been working, even in the freshwater world. It's an absolute amazing soft plastic. It's one of my favorites, actually, if not my favorite soft plastic bait to use of all time. And that's the Novi bait needed K-tail. It's a 7-inch version. This is called Chrome Ave. There's 4 colorways and 2 different sizes. The sizes are 5 and 7 inch. This is the packaging in case you're out there looking for them. 7 inch and 5 inch. So I know the Saltwater Edge in Middletown has them. Go say hi to Peter Jenkins. He'll hook you up with some. He'll show you where they are in the store. Lucky Bait and Tackle will have them in the fall, and I know No Live Bait Needed has them on their website. So feel free to log on to the website and order them up because, man, these things are going like hotcakes. I've been using these for the better half of a year now, and I can tell you one thing, they catch fish. And I do not leave home without them. I keep them all the time in my car, and I'll tell you what, sometimes they're the savior of the whole fishing trip. And there's so many ways you can fish this thing. It's unbelievable. Whether it's waking them on the surface, whether it's jigging them off the bottom, or you can slow roll them off the bottom, or speed retrieve and pause. I mean, there's no wrong way to fish this. There really isn't. And the way you can rig them is so easy. You can rig them with the No Live Bait Needed jig head, which is my preferred method. This is a 1 ounce jig head right now. Hell yeah, butter 5 inch jig head. It just matches the hatch perfectly, because my largemouth love them and my striped bass love them. So I'm going to keep it. What's not broke, don't fix it. So that's what I'm using. That tried and true K-tail pulsates and pushes a lot of water, has a lot of belly wag to it when it moves, and that's what I look for in a shad. As well, the plastic on this is made very durable, and it's nice. It's very durable. Also, your screw lock application, what they recommend when you buy them, you have a screw lock, you screw it into the top of this, and it sits flush at the top, right? So here's a trick I'm going to tell you guys. There's a video out there by No Live Bait Needed anyway. NLBN has a nice video on it. But when you get it all set up and rigged up like so, screw lock's in there, everything's all ready to rock, take some pliers and bend that up ever so slightly because you don't want that sitting too flush. You'll lose a lot of fish. Your hookup ratio goes way down. So take the pliers and just bend it up ever so slightly so that hook point comes up a little bit so you can prick your finger on it. Your hookup ratio goes through the roof, believe it or not. You can fish it with weight. You can take it off, be weightless. I like to fish it on a jig head because it's been working. So, but yeah, you got to have them in your bag this fall. They've been crushing fish since the get-go. It's a great mullet imitator. It's a great herring imitator, and the 5 inch are great for bunker imitations. This soft plastic is just unbelievable. I would say it's my top favorite soft plastic ever. So, whether you're in freshwater, brackish water, salt water, or your bathtub, it just flat out catches fish. All right, guys, make sure you pick some up. NLBN.com, Saltwater Edge. Be on the lookout for them. I think other tackle shops around should have them too. But go ahead, guys, buy them up. You'll thank me later. All right, thanks, guys.
I checked in with Captain Jack Sprengel today. He works with Shimano, also East Coast Charters. And he said the tuna bite's still alive and well. It's just the fish are a little more widespread than they were. It's not so much concentrated in one place. But if you have a good network, you can get on the fish. And every size is represented from 30 inches to 900 pounds. They're out there. A lot of the fish are being caught on bait, but the jig is still working pretty well. And really no topwater action to speak of in that area.
And now the Dream Boat Fishing Challenge entries for the week. We only had one entry from Rich Rubino, a Long Island fisherman subscriber from Deer Park, New York, who weighed his catch in at Saltwater's Tackle in West Islip. With his catch of a sea robin weighing in at 2.8 pounds, that puts Rich in third in the sea robin category. The leaderboard for this week stands at Scott Waterman at 17 points, Brian Zembreski at 13 points, Anthony Savino at 11 points. The fall run is going on now, so there's plenty of time to enter your fish to win that Steiger Craft powered by Yamaha and many other great prizes. But you must be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to enter.
It was another exciting week in the CKC. We had two fish that really added some urgency to the contest. Bob Wagner notched this 24.75-inch albie, landing him in second place for the hardtail category, but Justin Oster kept the pressure on, upgrading his first place hardtail with a 29-inch beast of an albie. The top of the leaderboard looks like this. Todd Treones holds third place with 5 points. Bob Wagner pushes his score to 10 points, but remains in second place, and Justin Oster hangs on by a single point to maintain his lead with 11 points. I know the head boats have been doing well with fluke and other bottom species out around the island. The sea bass fishing's been good. Scup fishing's been incredible. And then when you get up along the South County beaches, fluking's been holding its own for the last couple weeks. We saw some fish move back inshore, maybe because of the snapper bluefish moving out, maybe because they're anticipating these mullet coming out. I can't say for sure, but we've been seeing, you know, more consistent catches of good-sized fluke along these beaches, and also seeing more and more striped bass in that like 25 to 40 inch class. Definitely, you know, sort of favoring the middle of that range, but good action along there in early mornings and then all night long. And that's what I have for you guys in Rhode Island this week.
Save the date. Thursday, September 26th is the Fisherman Magazine's fishing show at the Hilton in Melville, Long Island. Doors open at 5 p.m. and the first 500 through the door get a bag full of fishing gear worth more than the $20 admission. Inshore, offshore, surf, we cover it all. Fishing seminars from the Sharpies. Great deals on tackle. A giant raffle. You don't want to miss out. Want to be an exhibitor? We still have a few tables available, but they're going fast. Contact the Fisherman at 631-345-5200 for more info. See you there.
Crossing over into Connecticut, one big change this week is not such a great one, and that is that the race really cooled off. A lot of those big bluefish seem to move out. A lot of the striped bass seem to move out, and the best action has been centered now around slower tides with whatever straggler fish are there, you know, sort of holding down the fort at that time. Sea bass has been pretty good on those slower tides. There's still some striped bass around, but most of the bluefish seem to have gone to bluer waters. But that's okay as we move inshore. The reefs of the Eastern Sound have seen a big movement of bait fish. They've come in onto these reefs. We've seen a lot of topwater action around first light. So you're getting, you know, striped bass from like 20 to 30 something inches, throwing spooks, throwing poppers. And then once things, you know, once the sun gets a little higher in the sky, you change over to trolling the tube and worm, or maybe throwing some deeper jerk baits, and you're still getting those same fish. There's been some bluefish in there. The porgy action has been incredible, and it's been good sea bass on those deeper edges, and there's always surprising numbers of nice fluke around those places for the guys that actually do it. Just got to short drift those stretches where you actually can, and you'd be surprised what you get. Getting up closer to the Connecticut River, we've seen a change there as well. The adult bunker have mostly evacuated, and they've been replaced by a lot more peanut bunker. So that's changing the consistency of the bite. We're seeing a lot more blitzy activity now versus, you know, sort of finding the big pods of bunker and finding, you know, a lower number of bigger fish around them. But that's a good thing, and that's sort of what we expect to see in the fall. And for a little bit more on that, let's check in now with Mike Roy from Real Cast Charters.
Hey, what's up, everybody? For this week's fishing report, it's now the first week of September, and that means fall run. For the next 2 months, we're going to be seeing a lot of migratory fish moving all through Long Island Sound and in and out of all the rivers. Should start seeing a lot of small bait. We're already seeing some surface blitzes, but I expect that to become more consistent as we get further into September. Some hardtail sightings as well. False albacore and bonito are starting to work their way west towards us, so expect to see more and more of those. Hopefully we get a good run of them this year. Starting to see some peanut bunker as well. Peanut bunker are a great indicator that you're going to have fish feeding on them on the surface. You typically see bass and blues feeding on peanut bunker, so keep an eye out for that. Still a lot of big striped bass around as well, and plenty of time throughout the fall to catch trophy-sized stripers. So you got a whole lot of options right now. We have openings for fall fishing, so reach out, contact us if you're interested in booking a trip. Good luck.
Now we'll head out of the river. We'll check in in Westbrook with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
What's up, everyone? Matt here from Black Hall Outfitters in Westbrook with this week's fishing report. Definitely still doing that summer to fall transition right now. It's the time of year where things can change really rapidly. Definitely those cooler mornings in the low 50s are going to influence the fish putting on those feed bags and the small bait dumping out of the tidal creeks and rivers, fueling the fall run fire. We'd love to see that. Locally, we think a Hardtails are not really around right now in the Central Sound, but they are on the doorstep. I've gotten some reports of them kind of in the areas we want them to be first week of September for a first to second week of September arrival. So definitely anticipating that happening pretty soon here. Stripers and blues really good. There's some bigger bass getting pulled in locally, which is always cool to see. Eels, live eels, GT eels. I love the black sapphire 13.5 inch on a 1/2 ounce jig head thrown up shallow this time of year. Really killer. And then you're also going to be able to see a lot more bird action in coming weeks. Definitely keep an eye out for those terns diving and squawking. Something's pushing that bait up, so it's always fun to take a few casts by those. Bluefish are going to be mixed in. We do typically get decent bluefish this time of year. Sea bass and fluke, pretty consistent. No dramatic changes on those guys, but that does usually have a little bump in action as the weather cools down. Porgy fishing has been very good. We've had a lot of guys coming in for sandworms and squid with bottom rigs, things like that. And then snapper blues are in. There's some good ones, some meter size getting brought in as well on snapper poppers, little current snipers, things like that. Plenty to do out there. Enjoy the month and happy fishing.
Heading west from there, we got a whole other set of reef systems there. You got Southwest, you got 6 Mile, you got a bunch of lesser significant ones out there. You've got Middle Ground. All these places are covered up with small to medium striped bass. You can do really well jigging, whether you want a slow pitch, butterfly, diamond jig. You can do really well on those. You can find some sort of mid-sized bluefish mixed in with them. The scup fishing's been very good out there. So a lot of activity on those western central sound reefs. Heading a little bit further west, let's check in now with Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. This past week, we've seen some Spanish and Bonito start to move in our area. The best spots right now seem to be across on the north shore of Long Island, from areas like Smithtown Bay, Port Jeff, Crane's Neck area. We heard of some Spanish too, east and middle ground, so the hardtails are moving in, and everybody's, antsy for the show up at albies. The striper and blue bite this past week have actually been really good at 11B. They're starting to get active. These cooler nights are going to help drop these temps moving into fall. Diamond jig and 11B on the outgoing. We've seen bass and blues. I've seen bass to like 30 pounds this past week from customers, and bluefish up to 14, 15 pounds. Where were they during the bluefish tournament? Fluke fishing remains so-so. You really still got to grind. You can find them in different depths this time of year, deep water and shallow, so bouncing around is key. Gulp, spearing, and squid strips work well. There's been tons of spot around. Everybody's catching spot. That's pretty cool to see. They're all mixed in when you're porgy fishing, but the porgies seem to be a little concentrated in certain areas. It's kind of hard to get away from all the spot and try to get your limit of porgies, but I would definitely try places like the Hump outside Middle Passage, Green's Ledge Light, and then 28C and 11B, up and close towards 13 near the rocks and everything. And then also the wreck south of Kopecky, we're starting to see some nicer sea bass being caught on, traditional high-low rigs with clam and squid. And then they'll take butterfly jigs, diamond jigs, you name it. Thanks and good luck.
And that's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there. I think the main thing right now is just the movement of false albacore. I do think we're going to see them coming into Rhode Island in mass over the next 7 to 10 days, probably closer to 7. And once that happens, things are going to go wild around here. If you're not a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine, I highly recommend you head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. You get a taste for free of everything that we offer. We cover all the fishing from Delaware to Maine, and we cover every angling discipline you can think of, whether you want to do it from a kayak, boat, surf, freshwater, you want to travel. We got it all covered. It's the best $30 you can spend in fishing. $29.95 for the year. You're going to get 12 paper issues sent to your house. You're going to get 26 digital editions sent to your email, and you're going to get digital access to all the back issues and all of our other editions. $30, I mean, how can you go wrong? But if you look at the website and you're still not interested, at the very least, give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube and hit that little bell thing down there so you get a notification every time we post something new. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.